Okay, so who is this guy? This is the top. It's an enlarged version of a section of a piece by Rodin. It's called The Gates of Hell. And this piece, enlarged, is known as The Thinker. And there's several of them throughout the world. One happens to be here in KC. And what it says is, and I'm not sure if you know, you ever read the Divine Comedy, but it's about this dude named Dante. And he falls in love with this badass bitch named Beatrice. And he only sees her once when he's 9. Only catches a glimpse of her from across the street. And then again when he's 18, he talks to her and he's sold. Now my Beatrice, her name's Natasha. And I only saw her a few times in my life too. And what Beatrice did for Dante is the same thing that Natasha did for James, which is help him ascend from a dark wood, well, to first have to go and visit the depths of hell, and then ascend higher and higher until I hit the highest sphere of heaven. And my advice to you is, if you ever get there, and I hope every human being as a basic human right does, because the soul has greater need of the ideal than of the real. It is by the real that we exist. It is by the ideal that we live. And unless you've seen that ideal, unless you've seen the face of God, which is how Dante's story ends, and I achieved on March 13th of 2018, it's 90 seconds, go low is my advice. My legs gave out from underneath me. I don't ever want to go through it again. My advice is go low. You will know there is one God of this universe. Aliens don't exist. It's us and him. And he looks at this as his comedy. This whole existence, it's supposed to be a comedy in his eyes. And we have experienced such tragedy that it's hard to imagine that. But if you can think in terms of what's ideal, the best in class, then you can begin to think about heaven. And the reason that piece is called The Thinker is because your thought unlocks heaven. Dante had a sequence of thoughts which led to what's called the beatific vision. It's what Moses called the burning bush, what Christians call Pentecost. And that journey, he was inspired by a woman, which indirectly put him in the sphere, of love. He was doing it for love, despite the mistakes he made in his life. That being said, when you intertwine love, because God is love, if you intertwine love into your motivating factor, what makes you wake up in the morning, because he is love, he responds to it and manipulates your local environments by putting a thinker in your path, because you happen to be traveling with a woman from Kansas, and that thinker's in Kansas City. That's a good way to do it. And 2020 was tough for every person on this earth except me, because I had and still have what's called the morning star. And what it does is it arranges, using the ideal, the best in class of the earth, just by identifying what's best, you unlock heaven. Like the best mountain to climb. What's in terms of the difficult, what's the best difficult mountain to climb on this earth physically? Best in class. And it's not the tallest, but it's the most difficult. The best mountain, the best challenge, K2. And that idea, if you look to see who made it to the top of K2 first, you'll notice they had these little things called cameras, or at least one of them. And they shot a documentary about it. And when they shot that documentary, just like I'm shooting this now, there's a record of the event, and it can show his hand. Now, even though they didn't give him recognition, they may have said thank God or whatever at the top. The idea is, didn't truly give him recognition for making it happen for them as they trudged along every step of the way. Even though they didn't, I am now. And he knows what happens at all times, so he knows what I'm doing right now. Therefore, he gets credit for K2, and you can go watch footage of it to see his hand. The Manus, the greatest hand on this earth, the hand of God, arranging their local environments, the crevices, the ice, the thickness of the ice, the strength of the rope, the clouds in the sky, the storms coming down, and you'll understand that he was there the whole time, just like he's here now. And that's not to say all the people who failed before, it was in vain, because the greatest mountaineering act in recorded history is an event called the Belay. And it's where one man, through a perfect set of factors, was able to save the lives of 6 mountaineers who were hanging, 5 of whom I believe were hanging from a rope into a glacier, a crevice that was hundreds of feet deep. They all would have died. But this man just so happened, by circumstance, to find himself in that spot. And he said it was just luck. He doesn't take credit for it. That was all God. The rope which wrapped around his leg, and then he's able to shimmy and catch, and perfect, and boom. And an ice pick that is an ice axe that is wedged into the side of a rock using what was it called? I can't remember. It's something belay. It's a hip axe belay. That that boulder frozen into the side of K2, with that ice axe and that perfect set of circumstances which lead to that hip axe belay saved everyone's life. That's all God the Father. And the only reason I am able to articulate this to you is because I am his son, 100% human. I have you on delay if you're watching this. And my hope is the entire world sees it. Because what Dante's doing is he's taking a journey physically and through his mind as he's progressing. And for example, one of the spots on mine was him here now. King of Kings, right?